Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. My name is James Williams Jr. This video will be about martial arts. This video will be piggybacking on something that happened on McDojo Live today. I didn't get to go live to ask about this shit, but it's not something that I really need to address because I pretty much know where Rob stands on that shit. However, this video is going to be about pressure points and chi. Alright, so we're going to do a talk. This is part 1. I'm hoping to get this done before I go to work. I have been trying to find a place to film. I have deleted 5 videos so far about doing this, so I have a blooper. I deleted everything else. I'm going to keep the blooper. Anyway, so let's begin. Earlier today on McDojo Life, they were talking about chi. So I guess they picked up the conversation after I got out of class, because that's when I joined them the second time, because he was on earlier. So I want to talk about chi. I want to talk about I believe in chi, and I believe in pressure points. So, just in case you're reading this or watching this, Rob, this has nothing to do with you. I have no grievances with you or whatever. I love your show. However, we will never agree on the same shit, especially when it comes to pressure points and chi. Now, let me explain that before I break it down or before Rob gets a hold of this video and decides to break me into pieces. Alright, 1. I know for a fact that chi works. 2. I know for a fact that pressure points work. If taught properly, pressure points do work. That's where me and Rob will have our little disagreement on that. So here's how this works. Alright, when I was taking Kenpo, I learned about pressure points. And I know for a fact there ain't too many people that can manipulate pressure points the way I can manipulate pressure points. I have used them on people literally, so I know that they work. Now, they may be very uncomfortable. Now, when I use pressure points, it does not make you shit on yourself. That's a myth. Now, that person that did that, the person that maybe got somebody to shit on themselves or whatever, is probably just having a really bad day. They may have had the runs, the bubble guts, diarrhea. Maybe that's what happened. But as far as me and pressure points, I know how to make your arms go numb, if you would. I know how to push you in enough spots to where I can stop you from using that long enough for me to whoop your ass. That's pretty much where I use pressure points. When it comes into breaking elbows and knees, which also involve pressure points because you have arteries in your elbows and your knees, which are also pressure points. You have those up here in your shoulder as well. And I was taught how to use them. I.e., therefore, since I have used them in actual combat, I know that they work. I've used them in wrestling with people. I've used them in playing with people. I use them in sparring. I know what the hell I'm doing, which is why me and pressure points actually are pretty good friends. Now, chi. I want to get on the chi. That's probably going to be the longest part of this video. Alright? Because a lot of people don't understand how chi works, what chi is, and some people may watch or play too many video games. So, let's end that part first. Chi does not work in video games. Chi does not work in video games in real life. I'm probably not saying that right, so let me try that again. Chi in real life does not work like it does in video games and movies. In real life, chi is an energy that we all have. Every now and again, you can tap into it. It is not an adrenaline rush. It's not the same thing. It's more of a slow burn for me. Now, I can only tell you about my chi. I can't tell you about the next guy or the next guy. I can tell you what works for me and how I felt the chi. In the videos that I deleted, I mentioned that how I got into a few fights and that my left hand felt like it was on fire. And my right hand felt like it was on fire. And each time, I couldn't make the hand go where I wanted it to go. It would just stay, you know. And the first time that it happened, when I was 15 and my opponent was 13 and he was way bigger than me and I wanted to hit his helper, my hand felt like it was on fire. It felt like I literally stuck my hand in a volcano and pulled up a fire fist. Alright? Like Terry Bogart's Burning Knuckles. It felt just like that. But it wasn't just my knuckles. It was my whole hand to about right here. And all of the heat was in the center of my hand. Now, I have had talks with senseis about that, and they said that that was chi. Alright, that's like the extra mystical energy that everybody else claims it to be. Alright, so being that I felt that, you know, you can't really do yay so much research on chi, because chi works different for everybody. Alright? However, chi does not work like it does in Street Fighter Hadouken. If you can do that, I need you to come and teach my 47-year-old ass how to do that. Because you're on a whole nother fucking level of fucking fighting. But anyway, chi's origins started in martial arts. I couldn't tell you what exact martial art, but I know that chi is mentioned a lot in mostly Kung Fu, Gung Fu, and Wushu. I also know that that little boy is going to come down this hallway and knock on this door. And he's not going to get in. Anyway, the whole thing with chi is that, it is an energy that every sensei talks about when you go to a martial arts school. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone I've been to, with a couple of exceptions of like maybe somebody who does MMA, but every time I've gone to a Taekwondo dojo, every time I've gone to a karate dojo or a kung fu dojo, chi or ki is a very big mention or affirmation in most of these places that I have gone to. There's a lot of people, they live by that shit. When I started taking Qigong with my Japanese teacher, the only Asian teacher I truly ever had, most of my martial arts has been taught to me by white people or black people. And then, like in the army, it was white people or black people. There were no Asians teaching me martial arts. The only Asian that ever taught me martial arts taught me Qigong. Which, again, the heat sensation came back. And so I had asked her, I said, well, I felt this before. She's like, you've touched chi before. I said, yeah, more than one time, but most of the time it has been in combat. Not so much like training, but in actual fights, I have felt it in this hand or this hand. Never felt it through my whole body. And they claim that you can feel chi through your whole body. Alright? Notice the words I said. They claim you can feel chi running through your whole body. I've only felt that shit in my hands. Alright? When I started taking Qigong, I still only felt it in my hands. Now, doing Qigong, at first I couldn't feel it like the first couple of months in. So I don't know if it's subliminal or not. But before I ever took Qigong, I felt my hands on fire. So I'm not going to say that chi doesn't exist. I am going to say that it doesn't work like video games. That part we all can agree on. Unless you find somebody who can actually show you that shit, because seeing is believing. It doesn't work like video games. But it does exist. Now, how it's utilized through other people is a whole different ballgame in itself as well. Now, also, I deleted the video where I talked about, there was an old martial art video that came on either the History Channel or something. It was not the Art of Combat or whatever, but it was a martial art video. And this dude's like 80 years old. And he had somebody hold a piece of paper up like this, and he did this Miyagi thing, and then he touched the paper. But you can see the camera was always on his right hand, and the guy holding the paper. So the guy holding the paper couldn't set it on fire, and the camera was over the shoulder on the hand of this guy. So if there was a parlor trick, I missed it. But he did like this, set the paper on fire. Then he did it again, where he crumpled the paper up on a bench where there's nothing around but this bench. And he did just like this, and caught the paper on fire. And when he did it the third time, he was on the sidewalk, and there was nothing around. Nothing that could ignite it from under the ground or anything like parlor tricks or shit. And he set the shit on fire. So, if that's chi, and he could do that, okay, then you got me. But for me personally, I don't know. I honestly know what I experienced and was told that it was chi, because when I started taking Qigong, the burning sensation of my hands came back. Which is like when I talk to my sensei, I'm leaving her name off because I don't want people to think, oh, she's like a shyster or whatever. And on that note, by the way, you can learn a lot from shysters and charlatans. You just have to understand the truth from the lies, alright? So therefore, back to chi. Before I had met her, I had been learning multiple martial arts. And I only learned multiple martial arts so that I could fight multiple martial arts styles. Because the more well-rounded you are in recognizing a style, the better chances you are at having the ability to survive the fight. Right? Let me explain that before I get any further off topic on surviving the fight. If you know karate, and I know karate, and we both took the same style of karate, let's say we both took freestyle karate, it's going to be a fairly equal match. Alright? But if you know freestyle karate, and I know freestyle karate, but I also know Kempo, or Gung Fu, or Wushu, versus you only knowing one style, I'm more than likely going to win that fight unless you get a lucky shot in that puts me out for the count. You know, hit to the liver, hit to the throat, hit to the sternum. Something's going to knock me slam the fuck out. So unless you get a lucky shot in, I can switch styles on you and whoop your ass. That's basically what I'm saying. If you're not well-rounded in that, so if I come in with Snake and you come in with Crane, we pretty much are equally matched because they are like the yin and yang. But if I switch from Crane to Snake to Mantis and you only know Crane, I have the advantage because I have more styles and knowledge than you. Hopefully that's making some sense to y'all as we bring it on back down to Chi. So, as I said in videos that I deleted, I had the Burning Knuckle sensation, i.e. Fatal Fury or Final Fight, whichever one has Terry Bogard in it, where he has Burning Knuckles, Legend of the Lone Wolf. It's a good cartoon. Yeah, that's it. I also talked about Fist of the North Star, where they're touching people in pressure points and stuff, and their bodies are blowing up. I also deleted that video because I can't do that. But I do know enough Kenpo that if I jab you in the right spot enough damn times, something's going to stop functioning. Alright? Also, when I teach people how to break elbows and knees, I teach them to break elbows and knees because in Judo and Aikido, it's always like break at the wrist. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Because I want to make sure that this doesn't function. So if you grab this part of your hand and you start twisting your fingers, or if you look right there on the camera, you can see, well, the shadow's messing that up. You see how my arm is twitching as I move my hand? Well, Kenpo teaches me how to stop this from working this. So when you break an elbow or a knee, it limits the motion of the hand versus breaking the whole fucking hand, which your hand can also break if you hit somebody too hard in the face. Alright? Which is another thing a lot of martial artists leave off. I know. We're supposed to be on Chi and pressure points. I'm getting there. This has a lot to do with pressure points because there are pressure points in your outer elbow and your inner elbow, which is why I teach people to break at the elbow and the collarbone versus breaking the Steven Seagal at the wrist shit. Yeah, a lot of people like to break at the wrist because they want to see bones protrude through. Fuck that. I want to stop you. I don't want to have you go to the hospital, then reset your bone. I want to permanently stop you from ever fucking with me again. So I'm going to break an elbow. I'm going to break a collarbone. I'm going to break something that's going to take a long time for you to heal the fuck up. You know, break your wrist, they reset the bone, and if you're young, you'll probably heal within 6 to 8 months, probably less. It just really depends on how bad it is and how good your genes are at recovery. I don't intend on getting my shit broke. But I also have to tell you that in doing that, I need your momentum to be working in my favor. So if you're like throwing a jab, two things has got to work for me. My positioning is number one. I have to be able to get to this side of you so I can pull this and push this with your momentum and snap it. And if you take Taekwondo, you know that you snap everything out. And if you don't know, now you do know because yes, I took Taekwondo. Alright, I've took multiple martial arts, so I'm pretty good at telling you what you need to know. Alright, so if you take a haymaker and I duck it and I can get your elbow over my shoulder like this and push up my shoulder through your elbow and break at the elbow that you're swinging, I am eliminating one of your weapons, which is another thing that Kenpo also teaches you, how to eliminate one of your opponent's weapons. But if you can recognize a style of martial art, you can adapt to that style. It's the same thing like if you're doing capoeira, the only Chinese martial art that I can pretty sure can hang with that shit, if not beat it, but definitely hang with it, would be Drunken Master. Alright? Now, for those who don't know, Drunken Master, Drunken Monkey, two different martial arts, but still Drunken and still Chinese. And you can use both as a combo, and they both will be able to handle someone doing capoeira. Now, the reason why is capoeira is Jenga and very unpredictable. Drunken Master is your sway and also very unpredictable. Because the Drunken Master can be the master of Wushu, a master of Kung Fu, a master of Drunken Monkey, a master of any other animal style, tiger, dragon, mantis, snake, the crane. You know, he can be any of that in that Drunken Master style. Which means if you're doing capoeira and someone busts in with Drunken Master and decide to do Drunken Capoeira, yeah, you just don't know. So in Kenpo, when they teach you every joint to pressure point, that includes everything over here, down here, under here, behind here. Pressure points are very uncomfortable. Now here's the thing in the dose of reality is, I'm not going to be able to throw a punch and connect behind here at that pressure point. But if we're doing judo and I can get a grappling hook on your shit, or if I can get you in an arm bar, or I can put you in an arm bar where I have your whole arm and my feet's in your face, I can hook my foot under here and catch you in the pressure point under here. And if I'm a real nasty son bitch, I can put my foot behind your ear, which also, if I get you in a triangle choke where you look like you're about to body slam me, I can use my hand while this knee is in your throat, or this whole shin is in your throat. I can put my hand while I'm holding your head. I can put my hand into your pressure points, and you're gonna feel that shit. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're gonna feel that shit, and that's the whole thing on that. So pressure points and chi. With pressure points, it's a whole lot easier to explain for me because I know more about pressure points than I do about chi. So now we're gonna go back to chi. Totally about chi from here out. Alright, so with the chi that I have experienced, and after going to a lot of senseis and sifus and then telling me about chi, when I finally got to my Qigong teacher is when I finally was able to feel and cultivate the heat sensation again. Alright? Now I'm referring to it as a heat sensation because the very first time that I felt it, in the videos that I mentioned that I deleted, my left hand caught on fire during a fight. Not literal fire. So if anybody gonna write, your hand caught on fire. No, it wasn't literal fire. It was like if you set your hand under a magnifying glass, only instead of it burning on the outside, it's burning from the inside out. And that's what I was feeling in my hand when my enemy at the time was attacking me and his helper came to help him out. And my hand was drawn and it was ready to go. But for some reason, and I'm going to say it was God's will, I could not hit his helper. I wanted to with every fiber of my being because I thought I was about to get my ass kicked. And he was pulling me toward the ground. I said, I got to do something, or I'm going to get fucked up. And I wasn't about to get fucked up. So, it would not fire from the chamber. It was loaded, but it would not fire. And then the cops came. So, it held out. That's the long and short of that. Once the cops came, they picked him up, dusted him off, sent him and his helper home, and chewed down my shit because I was the older of the two kids. And prior to that, I had gotten to fighting 4 more days that week before that fight came. But after that fight, no one in West Haven ever fucking called me Daniel Son no more or Kung Fu Joe. They knew my motherfucking name was James after that, and they knew that my shit was legit. So after that, nobody ever really bothered me again. And I hadn't been in a fight forever until I got hit in the face while handcuffed. Well, not handcuffed, while driving a car that my cousin stole that I was driving. He set me up. And it was so unexpected to get hit. I also didn't think I could take a hit, to tell you the truth. And the guy was skipping like a little girl in front of the van. And I almost hit him with his own van. I slammed on the brakes. Technically, we'll find out later that it was actually his father's van who gave them the van so they could come from North Carolina to Virginia to come party. And then I got punched in the face. And then the cops sat on me when I finally got out the seatbelt because I was fixing to fuck people up. And then the cop, after sitting on me, explaining to me what was going on because I had the cop's gun with my hand in it. And I was like, yo, I got your gun. So if I really want you, I can kill you. But I want the guy that punched me in the face. So, after the guy explained to me that the car was stolen, I gave him my wrist. And so he put me in handcuffs. And then told me to go sit on a bench. And I was sitting on the bench where the guy's big brother insisted on running his fucking mouth. And I told him, as I'll tell you, you don't fucking know me. These handcuffs make me more dangerous to you than they make them to me. And plus, I'm handcuffed with them in the front. I'm not handcuffed with them behind me. I'm handcuffed with them in the front. Which means, and they were the tight wrist lock bitches. You like had maybe that much space, if that. So I said, I will push these bitches through your fucking throat. And I said, you don't know who the fuck I am, and you're 6'2". And I said, just because you bigger than me, don't mean you're going to win. I will beat you within inches of your life with these handcuffs on. And I said, I will choke the shit out of you. All I got to do is get behind you and get a hold of your neck and just keep pulling until they come through. Now, I'm already going to jail for stealing the car, which I didn't steal. Your brother broke my glasses. My face is bleeding. You think going to jail is going to make a difference? I said, because I'm going to kill you. And then I'm going to kill your brother. And then I'm going to kill my cousin for getting me into this shit. So then the cop came over and told me I need to calm the fuck down. I said, oh, I'm calm. You don't see me smiling yet. Because if I start smiling or you blink, that 6-foot motherfucker's a dead man. And then so is his brother. And so is my cousin. You're going to take me to jail. I'm going to give you a goddamn reason. So, after that, I've learned a valuable lesson about being able to fight. Because I've been training since I was 7 with my hands tied also. So, chi. I didn't feel any of the burning knuckle shit during that incident. Nothing. But prior to that, many years back, is when I felt it. So when I started taking Qigong and the thing came back, I asked my sensei, I was like, so why is my hands hot but nothing else is hot? She said, you cultivated your Qi. Your Qi seems to only manifest in your hands. Probably because you use your hands the most. I said, probably because you used to fight a lot. You know, I was like, yeah, and my hands have been on fire when I've been in a couple of fights. He's like, well, that was just Qi. Now, every other sensei that I told about my hands burning during a fight, they also said that that was Qi. So I have experience in Qi, but it is not that mystical shit that you see in movies where I can shoot beams. Now, if it is for somebody else, I can't contest against that shit, but I can tell you what it is for me. Stay tuned to the next video.